Hello, everybody, once again. This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for the fourth review of my WrestleMania Retro Review series as we take a look back at WrestleMania 4, which I finished watching last night. The total runtime was around about 3.5 hours, the longest WrestleMania we've gone to so far in this series. It took place on March 27th, 1988 at the Trump Plaza, also known as the Atlantic City Convention Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Compared to WrestleMania 3, though, the attendance was nowhere close. I mean, the Trump Plaza can only take about, 20,000. There was only about 19 or 18,000 people there. And our future 45th president was in attendance there as well. Overall, what did I think of this show? These first four WrestleManias have had their good moments, but they haven't really been the most standout shows. Nothing on these shows really, well, maybe WrestleMania 3, the ending especially, makes me want to be like, I definitely want to go back and watch this again. WrestleMania 4, that show it was good while it lasted, but I wouldn't go back and watch it again, because it was mainly centered around one thing. It was a tournament for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, and it did kind of show that WrestleMania is not the place, really, for that type of tournament, I felt. Because you have a lot of guys who, the more low-card guys, it's not like, in these classic tournaments like the Mae Young Classic or the Cruiserweight Classic or even the United Kingdom tournament that we had also last year. Where it's like there's just all these guys from all over the world coming together that are all talented, making anyone's fair game to win. And in the World Wrestling Federation or in the WWE today as well, you got the guys that, are going to be worthy of, putting on these, classic matches. And unfortunately, with a tournament like this, where you have, a bunch of guys where they're not going to win, it didn't quite appeal to me, I felt. There were a lot of also DQs and, countouts and such, which, different, but it didn't feel as special, most of them. Didn't really feel like it meant anything. We had a couple double DQs and double eliminations, at once, where no one advanced, which some of them were I don't know. It was something different to me. That's why this review, we're not really going to be going over, every match for what it was. It's just, we're going to be just flying through it, pretty much. There's not really too much to talk about. It just kind of felt like they could have, had, the semifinals or something in this tournament, or even the quarterfinals or whatever. But as far as starting from the dead beginning, having a tournament the whole way through, 16 matches on a 3.5 hour show, I just felt like it was just rushed, and it just kind of felt like watching a bunch of matches on Raw or something. It felt like an episode of Raw. It wasn't a terrible show. All the matches weren't atrocious. I was close to giving this a C- for a grade, because matches either average or bland. But the ending, though, did cause me to give this a little, that's a touch of a higher grade. And I'll give you my grade, of course, at the end of this show. But let's get right into it. We're just going to just fly through this. Again, March 27, 1988 at the Trump Plaza in Atlantic City, New Jersey. We did have a couple of non-tournament matches, though. That's what we start off with an Invitational Battle Royal. Average Battle Royal, nothing really too spectacular. I did enjoy it a little bit more than that Battle Royal, that Celebrities Battle Royal they had with all the football players and past legends and stuff, because that one is everybody was staying in the same place. I just felt they just got knocked out left and right. This one, it felt like an actual Battle Royal. I was a little more invested into it. The match did come down to the final three, which was Junkyard Dog, Bret the Hitman Hart, and Bad News Brown. Brown and Hart did team up to eliminate Junkyard Dog. But then they teased a little bit of tension between Brown and Hart, and then Brown would eventually eliminate Hart for the win. But this is when apparently Bret Hart turned face and destroyed his trophy, and this is what was kind of the jump start to Bret Hart's career that we saw going forward and become eventually a Hall of Famer, I believe. So, this was kind of a moment here, because this is not a moment for him as well, but for a couple other superstars as well throughout this this WrestleMania, where they made their first moments count. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them were just they're here, but they have work to do. We'll get to that a little bit later when we talk about Warrior. But Battle Royale wasn't too bad. Enjoyed it a little bit more than the WrestleMania 2 one when Andre won, which that wasn't too bad either, but this one I enjoyed just a little bit more. So round one matches. So again, the reason why I didn't get into this, the story behind the reason why it was a tournament for the WWF Championship was because This was still after the aftermath from Hogan and Andre back at WrestleMania 3. And then Andre teamed up with the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, who wanted to try to buy the title off of Hogan, but Hogan refused. And then Andre pretty much just did the bidding for him. They fought in another match on Saturday night main event, and they had a crooked referee in there who just was in there to favor Andre. And Andre won the championship, ending Hogan's 4-year title reign. And then he sold the belt to Ted DiBiase, and I think Andre used the money to go on vacation or something. But then he was stripped of the title because you can't do it that way. So that's why they had this championship. So the main villain in this whole thing was not Andre; it was Ted DiBiase. In the first round match, DiBiase was in the first match of the tournament against Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the future winner of the first Royal Rumble. I think he had both Andre and Virgil by his side at ringside, and DiBiase, who showed at times that throughout this tournament that he had heel tactics helping him win, but he also won clean also. So like that's fine, that's what we want from heels, and they can perform tactics whenever they want to, but they don't always need to at the same time. This was a decent match. DiBiase won with an assist from Andre. The next match though was kind of bland. It was Dino Bravo with Frenchie Martin versus Don Morocco with Billy Graham. This match is just bland, kind of boring, and Morocco won by DQ after Bravo, I think this is a match where Bravo pulled the referee in front of him so that Morocco would hit him. But usually, most referees would disqualify whoever hit the referee. But he knew that this was intentional, so he disqualified Bravo. So Morocco advances. Then we had actually, I think, the best match of the first round. Greg the Hammer Valentine taking on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. The match was pretty good. I mean, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, I think, obviously was the babyface in this as well. But I mean, the stakes are already were high for Ricky to top off from his Intercontinental title match here before against Randy Savage. But I mean, the match was still good, and this was, I believe, right before Steamboat went off to WCW. So he lost this match to Valentine after Valentine used the tights with the roll up. It was still a good match, probably one of the better matches of the first round. And then we had Butch the Natural Reed with Slick taking on Macho Man Randy Savage, and the winner was Randy Savage. Savage was probably the biggest babyface, and this was around the time where he's starting to really make his moment and make his way up the ladder in the World Wrestling Federation as well. So like he was taking on just like a guy like Butch the Natural Reed. The match was decent, nothing too spectacular, but we knew we were going to get better things to come from this as well. We then moved on to the next match. This match was kind of boring. It was Bam Bam Bigelow taking on the One Man Gang with Slick. And One Man Gang won by countout after, even though Bam Bam Bigelow was sitting on the apron. So that was kind of stupid, I thought. So that match was kind of boring. This match I thought was okay. I mean, a lot of people give these people like not the best, because I mean this match did end in a draw because it did go over the 15-minute time limit. But I mean, it did. I think I know that these both are future Hall of Famers, Jake the Snake Roberts and Ravishing Rick Rude. It kind of also accept their feud down the line where I believe Ravishing Rick Rude was trying to get Jake the Snake Roberts' wife. So these two had like a decent match, not probably the greatest match, but they still put on a pretty solid match, I felt. But in a draw, causing both of them to both be eliminated from the tournament. So One Man Gang was going to get a bye in the quarterfinals as well. So we wouldn't see him again until the semifinals, I believe. That was all the round one matches. We did have a non-tournament match, so it was Ultimate Warrior making his first WrestleMania appearance against Hercules with Bobby the Brain Heenan in his corner, and the winner was Warrior. The match wasn't really too great though. It didn't really, I mean, Warrior was over with the crowd. His entrance and stuff was awesome, but in the ring he wasn't really that appealing yet. But better things came for Warrior. Rest in peace. Down the line, we get into the quarterfinal matches. First, we had the two guys who got byes in the first round. Hulk Hogan taking on Andre the Giant, the third match they had. This match, had like a story going, but I think, Andre was, just more so doing the bidding because, DiBiase was $1 million man and he was aligned with him, and DiBiase was, could bribe people with money to, pay them to do, whatever dirty work he needed done. So I feel like, this match, it wasn't going to top off what happened at WrestleMania 3, but it was more of a match to help, take out the biggest threat to DiBiase winning the championship. So that's why I kind of took it as, Andre could have just beaten Hogan, but, I Andre could have been playing safe or whatever. So it was weird because, Hogan struck Andre first with a chair, then the referee didn't call for the bell until after Andre hit him back. So they called it a double DQ, but technically, don't think the rules are whoever did it first should be disqualified. That was kind of strange, but whatever. What we got later on was cool, and it set up also the it was around the time also the Mega Powers were being formed as well between Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, but we'll get to that later. Speaking of which, DiBiase won his next match clean. It was against Don Morocco. And then we had another good match, one of the better matches of the night. Greg the Hammer Valentine taking on Macho Man Randy Savage, and Savage won. This was a good match as well. I thought this was one of the better matches of the night, as I keep saying. Then we had this match for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. It was Brutus the Barber Beefcake. The first WrestleMania, he was the Barber, taking on the Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart. And Beefcake wins, but by DQ. The match wasn't really that good, but the most entertaining part where the crowd was really in at the end, where, Beefcake went after Jimmy Hart, because I think, if I can remember, Beefcake, I think, was close to winning the match, but then I think Hart knocked out the referee with his megaphone. So he went after Beefcake went after Jimmy Hart with his scissors and just started cutting his hair. Didn't really give him like an embarrassing haircut, just cut his hair shorter pretty much. But the crowd was into it. They loved, the whole barber gimmick on Beefcake. So that was entertaining, but the match itself was kind of blah. This next match was really boring. I heard the story was pretty stupid as well, but it was the British Bulldogs and Coco Beware taking on the Islanders and Bobby the Brain Heenan. The Islanders and Heenan win. This was a boring match. Apparently, the reason why these six were feuding was because Bobby the Brain Heenan stole the British Bulldogs' dog, Matilda. Not really, a WrestleMania worthy match. It could be like another match on Raw, or even on a beat pay-per-view, maybe it would be acceptable, but on WrestleMania, nah. This match was boring. It didn't really enjoy it. And then we had only one semifinals match because since Hogan and Andre were both disqualified, they Ted DiBiase got a bye into the finals, but this semifinals match, it was kind of obvious. It was one-man gang with Slick taking on Macho Man Randy Savage. Savage won by DQ. It was okay match, but I felt the finish was kind of dumb. Having just one-man gang. It seemed like he just gave up admitted to defeat and started attacking him with a weapon pretty much. So I thought that was a little dull. But, it just made it a little obvious. You could have had a better opponent in there for Randy Savage going into the finals or whatnot. But it sets up our main event, which will take place after we get to this next match, was Savage taking on DiBiase for the title in the finals. We had the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championships. It was the team of Strikeforce, Tito Santana and Rick Martel taking on the team of Demolition, Axe and Smash with Mr. Fuji, and the winner was Demolition. I believe this was the start to their long tag title reign, which was eventually broken up almost a year ago, 10 months ago actually, by the New Day. So, this match was alright, but it wasn't one of the best tag matches I have seen in this WrestleMania review series. I still like most of the ones we've seen so far for the tag titles. And then finally we get to the finals. It's the WWF World Heavyweight Championship final match. It's Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, taking on Macho Man Randy Savage. And this match was pretty solid. I think it was probably either the best or one of the best matches of the night. The story being told here, Andre's in the corner, making sure he lived up to his deal and helping DiBiase win the championship, and he's being paid for it, of course. But then during the match, Savage just whispers something to Miss Elizabeth, and she goes into the back and brings out the guy who's kind of forming a close friendship with in the future, Mega Powers alliance in Hulk Hogan. He comes out and pretty much just stays at ringside, making sure nothing else happens. Pretty much just, being a neutralizer, which would eventually help Savage pick up the victory, and Savage wins his first WWF the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Championship. It was that big moment for Savage in his career. He had the great match here before, the Intercontinental match with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, but this was him getting over as a babyface and him forming his alliance with Hogan, and it was like a pinnacle moment for him as well. The ending was very emotional and stuff, with, them celebrating, and I enjoyed that. But that's pretty much WrestleMania 4. Again, it was mainly about the World Wrestling Federation Championship. I think this eventually does set up in WrestleMania 5. The main event, I believe, was Savage and Hogan in that main event. So we'll see what happens when we get there. But overall, again, most of the matches were average. They weren't terrible, but it just felt like most of these matches didn't need to happen on WrestleMania. Again, I was supposed to give this pay-per-view a C-, but with the ending, especially how good that was, I'll bump this a little bit, give it just a C, a flat C. Average show. So that is it for WrestleMania 4 review, guys. What was your thoughts on WrestleMania 4? If you haven't seen it yet, if you want to check it out, go ahead, but you're not really missing much besides the main event, at least. As always, please click that like, subscribe for more content come to this channel. Please also follow me on Twitter at TheManAirboy93, and I will be back up here probably for either my NXT Live review next, or I will be doing my WrestleMania 5 review. And until then, guys, have a great day.